Welcome to the Indie Beacon Show, where readers can discover great new indie authors. Find us on all major podcast systems and YouTube. Join Rox Burkey on today's show.
Welcome to Indie Beacon Radio. I'm Rox Burkey, and I'm here tonight to really have a new conversation with a brand new author to me, Johnny Cat. Welcome, Johnny.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Oh my gosh, I'm so delighted for you to be here. I mean, you are a fascinating individual, and I want to talk about your book. But before we talk about your book, I really would like to know a little bit and share with our listeners a little bit about you as a person. So how did you get into the writing? Because you've had a very rich background.
Yeah, well, it's been quite a long journey. Been a professional musician for years and years and years. I'm a veteran U.S. Navy. I was in the USS Enterprise. That's the aircraft carrier, not the starship. Of course, people get confused. Sometimes I can explain that. But yeah, I worked as a professional musician for, like I say, forever and ever and ever. I have a master's degree in education, a bachelor's degree in film and television. And the entire time I was growing up from a little kid to present day, I've been fascinated by movies from the 30s and 40s and ill serials and ill film noirs. And I read, as far as book reading went, I read a lot of Edgar Rice Burroughs, adventure stories, things of that nature. And I want to try to combine the two, film noir and adventure. And so my book is called Knight's Errand and Adventure Noir for that reason.
And that's desperately exciting. I mean, it's wonderful that you wanted to combine that together. So let's go back to your Navy career. Thank you for serving.
Sure.
So did you do a lot of reading while you were in the service?
Oh, yeah. We'd be out at sea. You know, they say join the Navy and see the world. Well, the world is about 3/4 water, and that's what you see about 3/4 of the time. So, so a lot of time for reading. So you go through books incredibly fast. A lot of novels.
A passion of certain kinds of genre that you prefer reading? I know the noirs are very interesting to you, and pulp fictions accordingly.
Pulp fiction, I love that kind of stuff. Just the hard-boiled stuff, that kind of thing. Although when you're on board ship, you read everything.
Yeah.
You read matchbook covers, you read the back of soup cans, you read whatever you get your hands on.
Soup cans are kind of boring, but okay.
Yeah.
You know all the sodium levels, right?
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So why did you decide at this point to go ahead and, start writing? Had you been writing when you were teaching?
No, I didn't. But I always had this idea in my head about combining my two favorite things. I worked in the film industry for a while. With my original degree, which is in film and television. I worked in LA in the industry and all of that. And I always wanted to write a story about guys with big hats, big suits, and big cars back in the 30s and 40s. It was always bubbling around the back of my head. And I finally sat down and said, I'm going to write it, doggone it. So it took quite a while to write it, but I did it and I'm proud of it.
Oh, of course you are, and that's excellent. It's like having another family member, having a story. So when you originally wrote Knight's Errand, and I want to get into it, a little bit more, but did you think of it more as a, like a screenplay or a film, or were you always intending it for it to be a novel, a pulp fiction?
Oh, just cinematic, always in my head, writing it cinematically. How would this play in a scene? And when I was teaching school, when I was a school teacher for a while, I would teach kids. I would teach kids writing. I was a language arts teacher for a bit. I would teach kids write your story, and we have a think tank about who would you cast in your story, and then write around that person. And that was a big deal. But so I thought cinematically. Like I said, for the story, and how would it look on the screen?
Yeah, there you go.
How would I write that if I saw that on a screen? What would I notice, and how would I describe that? That was my thought process.
So when you were teaching, were you teaching like middle school, high school? What grade level were you in?
Middle school. You know,
Okay.
the fun years.
Or challenging years, depending on what side of the aisle you're on that thing.
Yeah.
So did you help develop their imagination? Because you cannot write a story like Knight's Errand without just a fabulous imagination.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I would teach them also in developing their stories they wanted to write. How would they sell it? So I would have them design their, well, back then they still had VHS, if you could believe that. But they would design the box it would come in, you know, have design the cover for their novel. In other words, make them focus on it. Design a poster for their story. If it would be made into a movie, what would the poster look like? What blurbs would they put on the poster to get people interested to come see the movie or read their story? So it always goes back to cinema every time.
Kind of like a movie sheet, right? I mean,
Exactly right. Exactly right.
so how long were you in the industry, as it were, from an showbiz perspective?
I was in about 5 years,
Wow.
and I did all sorts of things, did loads of extra work, of course. I worked for Showtime Comedy Club Network for a while, production assistant, worked for a startup company called the Movie Channel, which later turned into the E Network.
Yeah.
That was after I left, but just you take everything you can. And that business is a tough business because there's nothing is solid, nothing's permanent, and everybody's looking for the next gig down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who was your inspiration in that 5-year segment for you to decide, you know, I want to create stuff for potentially cinema or at least for readers?
Yeah. Well, I have my heroes in cinema, of course. James Stewart was a big favorite of mine. I actually wrote him a letter, and he actually wrote me back. I couldn't believe it.
Oh, nice.
But he actually did. Very nice guy. And I was also became friends with a lot of the old movie stars. I joined an organization called Sons of the Desert. I don't know if you ever heard of that. It's a Laurel and Hardy Appreciation Society. And I would go to meetings. I met Stan Laurel's daughter, got to be an acquaintance of her and her husband. And a lot of the old film stars that would show up we would have meetings once a month just to watch the old movies and have a good time. And a lot of the old stars and a lot of the people that work for Hal Roach Studios would show up. Some of our gang, some of the Little Rascals people would show up. Spanky would show up occasionally. Butch. Alfalfa wasn't there, but Alfalfa was gone by that time. But Butch showed up, and he wasn't a bully at all. It was nice. Very nice.
Very good. Very nice. Well, that's good. So do you still have those contacts today?
Well, a lot of those folks are gone now. This was back in the late 80s, and a lot of them have passed on. And so I don't have those contacts anymore, really. They're not there. So, but there's still a lot of people that are into that, and I have contacts with them. With those
what
folks.
A rich environment for you to be able to get into. That's amazing.
Oh, yeah. It was. I loved it.
So if you had to pinpoint one of your biggest supporters as you're going down this journey of now becoming an author, because you've been a teacher, you've been in the service, you've been in the movie industry,
Mm-hmm.
who's your inspiration for this next leg of your journey?
Well, I have to say my sons and my girlfriend right now, that's the family. They're the inspiration. And my brother, of course, he gives me a hard time, but brothers do that. It's part of it. Do you have a brother, by the way?
That is a sibling thing. Yes, I do have a brother, actually.
Okay. Does he give you a hard time?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I get the same. So you know how it is. But basically, it's my family, my sons especially.
I think that's awesome. So, Johnny, what I want to do is I want to take a short break to hear from our sponsors. And when we come back, I really want to dig into the book with our listeners. So stick around.
Okay, thanks.
Mary Ann Fairmouth is a career consultant with 30 years experience in the national recruiting world, a multi-award-winning author in multi-genres, and a speaker that gives presentations to help you succeed. Her book, Revolutionary Recruiting, made the top 20 global list of recruiting books. Find her on Amazon, your favorite bookstore, or at fairmouth.com.
looking to embrace your children's imagination, check out Diane Floyd Bame's books for kids. There's The Moonling Adventures, all about the animals in the Serengeti. And then there's Harry the Camel, learning to love yourself just the way you are. Then The Little Girl in the Moon. There's one about friendship, another one about the big ideas, which is an inspirational story. And then Tour Tycho Town, right there in Tycho Crater on the moon. All of Diane Floyd Bame's books are available at B4R Store.
Hello, I am the author Denise Bryson. My first book is The Things That Cross My Mind, Inspirational Poetry with Life Lessons. And then my audio book is Love's Reality. And it is also inspirational poetry with a jazzy flair. And then my new book is The Sex, the Lies, and the Soul Ties. They're really short stories written from a poetic expression. And then I have my first children's book series, the Blinky series, which the first book is called Meet the Coins, and it is both in English and Spanish. And then the new book, From Coins to Bills. I am the author, Denise Bryson.
Welcome to the Indie Beacon Show, where readers can discover great new indie authors. Find us on all major podcast systems and YouTube. Join Rox Burkey on today's show.
Welcome back to Indie Beacon Radio, and I'm here tonight with Johnny Cat, and we're going to talk about really digging into his book, Knight's Errand. And I have to tell you, first of all, not only is this cover just the epitome of, a noir from those times, but where'd you come up with the idea? It's amazing.
Where'd I come up with the idea?
Yeah.
Oh, well, as I said previously, just too many old movie serials that I watched. Chapter 13 of Rex the Wonder Horse defeats the Martians from Venus, that kind of a thing. And but the book itself takes place in 1939.
Yep.
And which was an interesting time. But you couple with that with like I said, the old film noirs of that time, where there's a fifth columnist. And although my book doesn't really get into that, it delves into other things, more of an adventure line. It's a braided story. Those who don't know what that is, I've got two people telling the story at the same time. It's tricky. It's very tricky, and there's some time shifts in there, so it's odd. There's Bruno Durst, which is a renegade Nazi. He's an SS officer. He's in it for himself to save his family's fortune and all. Yeah. And so he's on the lookout for himself. Then there's Sterling Hanover, which is kind of a washed up B movie actor that's the star of all these big serials, and his basic income is supplied by popcorn fueled kids everywhere at Saturday matinees. So yeah, that's where he gets it from. And he works at some little $2 studio down in Hollywood making these little serial adventures and all. And the third person I have in the movie is Tika. She's this strange, dark Burmese cult priestess. And these three come together because the Nazi steals this he and his buddies steal this mystic greenstone.
Oh.
So there's a mystic greenstone. That's the catalyst that runs the story basically. Sterling gets involved with it, and you got to read the story to find out. I'm not going to tell you all the secrets.
Oh, no, you can't.
But basically, all three come together, and they're on this. Bruno steals the mystic greenstone, and what makes it mystical is it's supposed to have life-lengthening properties somehow.
There you go.
He's supposed to steal it for the right, but he steals it for himself. So anyway, he steals it. Tika's after him for it, and Sterling gets wrapped up in it as well. And there's murder, mystery, and mayhem involved as they travel the globe in search of this mystic greenstone.
It's amazing how you put this together, and all three of these characters are visible on the cover, and they're very, very compelling. A Burmese cult priestess is not something that you get every day. I mean, that's just remarkable. No. So do all of these characters talk to you?
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, they tell me. They tell me what they want. Yeah. And,
Do you have a favorite character of these three, or are they all equal?
no, they're not all equal. Sterling Hanover, I like the best.
Do you?
Yeah, the reason I like him, he's the best. Well, to me, he's the most fallible. I identify with him a lot. He's made a few boo-boos in his times, and but he's worked in the industry, and he just it's hard to put how he is to me. I identify with him a lot, so he tells most of the story.
So do you feel all of these characters have those realistic qualities that will bring your readers into them, and just like, even though it's not on the movie screen, they can visualize as they read it, because your descriptions in here are very compelling.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, Bruno's trying to salvage his family heritage. He's the Nazi fellow. He's trying to salvage his heritage because it's being taken over by the Nazi regime, and they're taking his home and his property and all, and he doesn't like that. So I make him his character development. I'll make him a bit compassionate. So you gotta feel a little bit for the guy, but at the same time, he's a Nazi, so you can be mean to him when you're writing. Nobody's going to say, "Hey, wait a minute, you're talking mean about Nazis now. That's not right." You're not going to find anybody that's going to tell you that.
All right, so we have these three characters. So it begs the question, because of your background, have you put together a screenplay for this?
No, I haven't. I would love to do it. I'm sure there's some software out there that would enable me to do it. But yeah, people aren't really buying screenplays that I've noticed. I've been searching for agents and going through, and almost everyone says, we don't want screenplays. So if I would do that, I would wait until I have an agent, and then somebody asks me or wants my help to put it into a screenplay. Once you push it towards a studio for development into a film or a series, television series, whatever, they're going to do it for you. They have people that already are in place to do that.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, very cool. All right. So, you mentioned that you were a musician and you've been playing for a long time. You've also done something else remarkable with this book. And that is, you are actually the voice actor narrator for this book, right?
Yes, I am. Yeah, I did the entire book myself, paid for it myself, and which wasn't cheap, but I did it because I wanted it done right. So I got to do it myself.
So in doing your own Audible, and you obviously had some kind of a production area to be able to do that, to get the right quality, to get it out there. How hard was that? And I'm asking from a author listener perspective. Is that something people should normally want to attempt?
Well, I'm lucky because I live in the Austin area. Okay. So there's loads of great studios around here, and I found a really good one that dealt specifically with that. Okay. And I'm losing my voice right now, so but I don't lose my voice on the audio. But I did that, and it took a while to do it. And like I said, it was expensive. It was a great little studio. Okay. But you can look around, and they all have different prices, and different things. So
do you think an author is better at telling their own story in an Audible, or getting someone who's had some sort of experience doing recording, production, that kind of thing?
I think it's the author's background, what they want. I mean, if they sound like Walter Brennan the whole time they're doing their story, that might not work too well. So they might want to hire an actor to go there, somebody that's a voice actor that can go in and do it.
So you clearly have three different characters, and one of them is female. Was that hard for you to do the voice of, or?
Well, I would just kind of lift my voice up a decibel. Well, okay, then I would talk like this, maybe, just to get the point that it's a female talking.
Okay. I would imagine that's very hard. I mean, I can't imagine doing it myself. So my hat's off to you for being able to do that.
I've heard enough audiobooks where it's one reader, it's a male reader predominantly, and they shift their voice back and forth between the characters. So if you're able to do that, then that can work for you.
So this particular book that you have done, it's an accomplishment beyond belief. Congratulations. Are you
Thanks.
going to do another one, or are you working on one right now?
Oh, I've got several, and I got right here in my top right-hand desk drawer. I've got several here, and there's another one over here. I got 3 more somewhere. I don't know where they all are. They're there. So I want to get this baby off the ground a little bit and see what happens with that. Then I'm going over to the other ones.
Well, I think that's just amazing that you put this together. And again, I think it's very compelling. I haven't finished it, but I've been going through it, and it's like, wow, this is really awesome. So I would recommend this at this point to people to go ahead and take a look at, and do a review, for heaven's sakes.
Please do a review. I need all the reviews I can get.
Well, authors need that. That's like the biggest pat on the back, is to go ahead and give a fair and reasonable review.
Mm.
So we're going to take another short break here. And Johnny, I'd like to come back, and I want to talk about where people can see you, where people can find you, and where your book is. All right, so stick around.
Thanks.
Publishing marketing package for authors. A $1,500 value, save 40% now. Includes a 6-piece marketing kit of 250 bookmarks, 250 business cards, 250 postcards, 1 table banner, 1 table runner, and 50 download cards, plus book cover design, ebook creation, PDF setups, upload to Ingram Spark, scroll placement, video commercial, and interview on IBS, plus much more. Email bourgeoismedia@look.com for details, or bourgeoismedia.com.
Hi, I'm Mel Greenberg, author of Running with Our Eyes Closed, book 1 in the Empty Nested series. To the world, Samantha has the perfect life. 3 wonderful children, a loving husband, so she thought, and a life split between Dallas and Italy. When her youngest leaves for college, it all comes crashing down, forcing Samantha to re-examine everything. Over 7 days in one of the most romantic countries in the world, Samantha faces the past she thought she'd overcome and begins to redefine her role as a woman, a wife, and a mother.
What would you do if you had to put your life on hold to care for a loved one? Well, during COVID, almost all of us have been doing just that. I'm Charlotte Canyon, award-winning author, actress, and speaker. And my book, You Have to Laugh to Keep from Crying, shows you how you can revive, thrive, and survive with 4 golden rules. You have to love one another. You have to respect one another. You have to have patience with one another. And most of all, you've got to forgive one another. I'm Charlotte Canyon, and I approve this message.
Welcome to the Indie Beacon Show, where readers can discover great new indie authors. Find us on all major podcast systems and YouTube. Join Rox Burkey on today's show.
Welcome back to Indie Beacon Show, and I am so glad to be continuing my conversation with Johnny Cat. Thank you so much for being here, sir. We're talking about Knight's Errand, and Knight's Errand is a fascinating noir set in 1939 that gets some very incredible characters between one another. So let's start with, what kind of formats is this book available in?
Well, everything you can think of. It's on Amazon.
Okay.
And all you got to do is look up Knight's Errand, Adventure Noir by Johnny Cat. Now, if you pull up Kitty Litter, don't worry about it. Just scroll down far enough, you'll see my novel there, somewhere in the kitty litter. But it's also available in Audible, Kindle. What else? It's hardcover.
Yeah, paperback.
It's paperback. Yeah, it's all there. So however you want it, you got it.
No, it's an amazing little story. Again, I haven't finished it yet, but so far it's been very, very compelling from a reading perspective. So you're working on some other stories, and I know that this is very important for you to kick off. So are there some events that are coming up that people can, see you, talk to you, shake your hand, get you to sign a book?
Sure. Sure. Well, if you got a ticket over to Middle East somewhere, my book is on display at the make sure I pronounce this correctly, the Sharia Book Fair, if you know about that.
I personally don't, but when is that running? From when to when?
That is running from November 9th to the 11th, and it's in the Middle East, and it draws around 40,000 attendees. It's one of the largest fairs in the world. So hoo-ha for that. Also, I'm going to be at the Galveston, let me look at my notes here, the Galveston Island Book Festival. I'm slated for that. You got a spot there, come up, say hi. I'm getting coasters made, if you can believe that.
Oh,
So
wow.
Drink on a coaster with my information on it. I'll have postcards, everything. And I've got posters, as you can see in the background back there somewhere. Buy a book, get a free poster. Hey. And yeah, I've got that going on. We've also got the Seguin for next year.
Okay.
A festival. I did this last one, and I was real impressed because it made me some money and got me a lot of nice contacts, got to meet a lot of nice folks. So that was great. So just, pushing here.
There we go. Do you have like an email letter or an email list where you send your fans notes about where you're going to be and all that?
Just Facebook, and you can find me on Facebook at Johnny Cat, and you'll see my picture on there. And so and you'll see part of my big blurb above my name on there is my book, Knight's Errand. So you can see that.
So all of your upcoming events are on Facebook under Johnny Cat, JOHNNYCAT, right?
Right.
Yeah, I had the tattoo updated this morning, so I'm good. All right, so that's very exciting. So people can find you. What is Galveston? I don't remember.
Oh, Galveston is just south of Houston. It's an island.
When is that?
Oh, when? I'll tell you where it was. When? Well, let me look at my note here. It's going to be November 13th.
Of this year, right?
This year. Yes, ma'am. This year, Galveston Island Book Festival, November 13th. It's wine and read.
Oh, that's
something like that.
Nothing goes better with an adventure noir than a little bit of wine and a little bit of candlelight, and it's the perfect gift for Christmas. And I bet you'll sign books for people, won't you?
Sure. If somebody wants me to sign something, I'll sign it, whatever they want. I also have some of my recordings that I've done over the years. These are wonderful too. They can pick one up at the book festival or order it online at Amazon as well. I got to push the goods here. Sorry, but that's the way. A little advertisement at the end.
No, advertisement is just fine. So if you go on to Amazon, you can find Knight's Errand Adventure Noir by Johnny Cat, or you can follow him on Facebook.
Yes,
you can find him in Galveston in November, and he will sign and smile at you while he's giving you a poster or giving you your other accoutrements that you've ordered, and that is just fantastic.
Right.
So,
I'd like to say something else if I could.
Please.
I'd say the greatest inspiration I have right now for pushing this book and going through is my girlfriend, my sweetie, Patricia. So I just want to put that out there.
Hi, Patricia. I look forward to meeting you. I hope you're going to be at Galveston so other people can meet you as well.
Oh, she'll be there. She's got to watch over me.
Well, I look forward to reading more about you and finishing this particular book. And I want to thank you for being here this evening.
Well, thank you for having me. Fantastic. Had a great time.
All right. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye. Take care.
Thank you for watching or listening to the Indie Beacon Show, produced by Beyond Bourgeois for the Authors Marketing International LLC. Copyright 2021. Voiceover by Beyond Bourgeois. If you would like to be a sponsor of the show, please email us at authorsmarketing@outlook.com. If you would like to be on the show, please complete the form found on our website at indiebeacon.com. You may also watch previous year's shows on the website. Music is Frolic of Words, created for Indie Beacon